So can you explain to me a bit more about seasonality of energy?
Well, there's another interesting thing that was a major factor this year. This is actually the 24th out of 25 years that gasoline prices were higher after March 15th and before the end of May.
Oh, okay. So how is that? How does that work in a year?
Well, what happens is refineries have to take down units once a year. And so the second quarter is the time of year when demand is at its lowest, because you of course have very strong winter demand, and then after Independence Day you have people taking vacations, you have people that are 16 to 25 years old are driving. People tend to just jump in their cars and say, hey, let's go see a movie, or let's go ahead and buy a pint of ice cream. So you tend to get more driving in the summer. So the best time for them to take down units at a refinery, scrub them, clean them, change the catalysts, check the hoses, make sure everything's operating fine, is during the months of March, April, and May. And when they do that, by taking down the units, we produce less gasoline, less diesel, less jet fuel, all the things that come from a refinery. And that lower supply is generally one of the main factors that helps push the price higher. But normally, and this year has not worked that way, we see weakness during the month of June. This year we haven't seen that because the demand doesn't really show up until after Independence Day, the driving demand. So people anticipate the higher demand of summer going into Memorial Day, and then usually there's a letdown from Memorial Day to Independence Day, and then usually energy prices, particularly crude oil prices, will advance slowly and steadily into October. Usually in any given year, the high price for gasoline is seen right before Memorial Day, and the high price for heating oil or diesel is seen right before Columbus Day.
I understand. So seasonality is one of basically oil price fundamentals. Which other fundamental could you add, like the political situations? I mean, there in this seasonality matter, was any year or a few years, for example, that this phenomenon didn't happen, for example, due to some political incident or weather incident, for example? Can you give me an example?
Absolutely. The oil market has so many things that affect it, and of course, hurricanes, particularly hurricanes that shut down refineries like Hurricane Rita and Katrina, or Hurricane Gustav and Ike. These hurricanes had major impacts on both crude oil production, natural gas production, but also on refinery production, because refineries had to go down for a period of time. So we have to watch very carefully the weather. Politics. Every time anything happens in Iran, and of course Iran has been a topic of headlines recently, anytime anything happens in Venezuela, or even when we see North Korea acting the way it acts, that can put pressure on oil prices. So we have politics, we have weather, we have seasonality. When the market's working properly, we have supply and demand. And then of course nowadays we've got the dollar and equities and interest rates. It's like a big stew where we're just pouring everything in and getting different tastes out at any given moment.
And this was Flavia Maceto for FMX Connects. I hope to see you very soon.